basis. As we all know, Sukkot, Shavuot, and Pesach. That's why I say Bechor. It's not just Beaker, but Bechor, that's what it means. And during the 3 times of the year, we go at least 3 times a year, we go to bring Korbanot. It's part of Avodah. So knowing that we just also came out of Yom Kippur, we also went through the Avodah process. And if everybody recalls, we say about Baruch Hashem Kivon Achoto, Eolam Va'ed, about 4 times at least, if I recall. It'll be very interesting now to start this process. It is a process. Because in Bereshit, I want you to anybody here in the sciences, learning science? Okay, we have 1, 2. I want you to first pay attention to the ways of the world, how the world understands stuff, and how the divine aspect, how we are passed the torch of the Torah from Hashem in the ways that everything was developing through mankind, and even the universe as well. If you look how human beings understand the world, they think it's evolution. They think everything evolved, and everybody has to now compensate what this means, 24-hour cycle.
Which human being? Which human being?
There were no humans.
Well, he's not there anymore. Stephen Hawking. Anyway, so the ways of the world, it seems that everything evolved over time. Meaning that we have to now take Torah and then compensate what science is trying to tell us, or people trying to fit the story of a theory. And why I have to use this statement? Because it seems to them that what does this mean 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then people are just trying to fit the whole understanding what time is. Because they try to say divine time, human being time, and so on. I feel it's a little bit preposterous, honestly. It doesn't make sense. It contradicts exactly what Torah actually says. Not because what Rashi says about Bereshit in the beginning, where that means time started, but it says on day 4, luminaries. Luminaries came out on day 4. And it says specifically that the luminaries are to tell you the times of the festivals, times of Rosh Chodesh, to keep track of the 24-hour cycle. This was, and then day and night. And Organus has been hidden away. So we had darkness from day 1, and in day 4, we start the understanding of the 24-hour cycle officially. But so, now how are we going to come and understand something about the creation of the world and its the purpose of the creation of the world? So, to man, it seems very hard for them to understand the 24-hour cycle. How could it be Hashem created the world on a daily basis, in 24 hours, But this is where it's going to get very interesting. Because the way, now we've got almost to Parashat Noah, you see over people when they first started on day 6, after we discover and we analyze every day what Hashem created, now Parashat Noah comes in and says, the first reaction of man was they want to fight God. It's a very weird understanding. I got no idea what that even means. They want to build a tower. They're in real estate all of a sudden, They want to see the divine and get close to him and fight him. They literally think what the Nahash was trying to trick Hava over here. Say that Hashem doesn't want you to be like him. Eat from the tree of knowledge. Understand they're going to be like him if you do eat from it. So in the beginning of the world, when fallen human beings were created, it was a very selfish state. There was no midot, I guess you could say, and no proper values set up. Because the way that even Adam was trying to understand the world, he went to visit every animal. He went to name every animal. So there's a different interpretation of what that means. But by the time he had understood Chava, the first thing he had to do after eating tree of knowledge is basically he sold her out.
Well, if you go at this pace, until you get up to Shiva, it's going to take 5,000 years.
Right, we're getting there. We're getting there.
It's a long speech.
So basically, it's a very weird understanding where is the midot here? Where is the understanding of values? Obviously, there's no precedence to here, the way the world is. But this is where it gets very interesting. Even when they want to build a tower, the foundation of the world was not really understood. Like anything else in life, you have the foundation, and you develop on top of the foundation the structure. And the universe is on top of the structure, and that's how you build towers. That's how you build human understanding to things. You have to have a foundation. Interestingly, if we pay attention how the world was created, the universe was created, it starts from the very top-down approach instead of the bottom-top approach. And you see the processes of the world being created. First light and darkness, and the light being hidden away, then the heavenly spheres, and then the waters, the oceans, the birds of the sky, then the whales and so on, and then officially the animals. Very weird structure now, we're going down, but the idea is until you finally get to Adam and Chava, the formation of man and woman, it's top down versus the bottom up. And this is over here where it gets very, very interesting. It says when Hashem finally made man, he blew into him a divine spirit, a divine soul, a free choice, understanding now. You're going to have a purpose. And if you look at this, that this entire purpose is right now setting up man to learn what are going to be the values, what's going to be the mission of a man, and the formation and the basic ideology of what's going to be the structure for the future. It says also, Barur Arvu, interestingly enough, that the first commandment has to be initialed here. When man does not even know what to do in the world, they don't really have a thorough understanding, and the first thing during all these things going on is the first commandment, Barur Arvu. And this is before actually Noah comes into the picture, because it says, before Noah's time, it says the people were lawless. They did not follow the rules. There was no rules before it seemed. But the first commandment is already issued out, Barur Arvu, a development of mankind, a continuation of the future, a purpose. Now, if you look at everything that's going on over here versus how we understand the world, and versus how Hashem created the world, we still don't get it. I mean, till now I don't get it. But I found a very interesting note. We don't have to fit science to Torah, and this is where it's going to get very interesting now. I found once they did the sin, and Hashem had to prosecute Adam and Chava, and they sold each other out, the first thing you had to do was kick them out of Gan Eden. And now it says the woman's going to be giving birth 9 months later, subject to time now, and Adam has to work with the sweat of his brow. Before he didn't have to work too hard, everything came easy. Everything in the world until this point was very easy. And now Adam has to sweat, he has to struggle, he has to now work the fields, he has to develop. Officially now, the laws of nature are subject to man. Now the 24-hour cycle that we know today, that's on day 6, all happening. But this is where it also continues on, is that Noah comes in, says to make Hashem happy. But people, for all we know, they still continue their ways. They didn't change. And he didn't do much. He tried, but he didn't do much to really change mankind. And I want to tell you something very interesting, because the ways of the Goyim, how they understand the world. Before I get to that point, I have to mention something, because I spoke to Meir Bechor, like I said. He said to me that he comes from Providence, Rhode Island. Providence.
Boston.
Before that.
Oh, yeah.
He was there. He moved there when he was 4. He lived there for 4 years, and his father got honored about 16 years later. 16 years later. And a year later, the Shidduch finally was suggested to him. So why is this very interesting to me? If you look at the numbers, it's very unique. The formation of these numbers, Gematriot. Let's go to the numbers now. He was 4 years old when he moved in. That's Dalit. He was 4 years living there. Now it's Chet. Because Ashkenaz say Chet, but we say Chet. And his father got honored 16 years later. That's Vav. That's Vav and Yud. Yud dash Vav. 16 years later. Interesting combination. What's going on over here? And a year later, Ehad. 1 year later, from that point, so we have Ehad, and we have now the Vav. The Yud and Vav. That's when he gets married. A little bit of formation. I always say Ehad, and we see now the Yud and the Vav already formulated. But still leaves me hanging over here. It's 25. He's married at 25, and to get to Yud Kei Vav Kei is 26. But if you realize something, what's the following holiday? What is the following holiday from this point? We just went from from the pilgrimages, from Sukkot, Yom Kippur, the Avodot, and we just now we're about to hit, and the following holiday is Hanukkah. If anybody who knows what Hanukkah is all about, it's basically the Hellenization versus religion. And the entire idea was to abolish Bimilah, the festivals, they for, again, luminaries, like we said, purpose of luminaries, and Rosh Chodesh. That was the three things they were focusing on. And if you know the history of Rome, if it's true or not, maybe this fable story, but this is how it goes. Apparently, Greek mythology, if anybody studied Greek mythology, it's about who's the broadest, who's the strongest, who can actually enjoy this world the most. Exactly how Hellenization is all based off. And, you know, it's funny I have to mention this name. I thought I'll never mention it in Torah, the very Torah, but I have to use it to really fit the bill here. But there was this Greek character named Achilles. And Achilles, his entire purpose of Achilles was, he was about Pleios, a Greek word for glory. His mom told him, Peleus, I think it's her name, Peleus came to him and told him, you are destined, one of two things. You are destined to either have children, and you could get to see up to 7 generations of your children.
It's the Torah. This is real about the Torah. You have to make it.
Wait, interrupt. So, I'm not following you, don't worry. So you can see up to 7 generations of your children. Or, your name will forever be known. If you go out to fight Hector, just prove power, all about power. But your name will forever be known. But they won't talk about his children. There's no history. It's all about brute power and enjoying this world. Hellenization, in essence, what it's all about. And what they were trying to abolish from the Jews. The reason why I have to mention all this, because now we just said Ehad. We got to the point of Ehad, right? And we all know Shema Yisrael. Listen, O Israel. This is what, to formulate Shema Yisrael is about what actually took after Parashat Noah. We introduced Abraham Avinu. Abraham came in the time when idolatry was all we knew. And what it seemed, the philosophy at the time was serve the largest idol. Serve what seemed to be strength, what seemed to be interesting, what seemed to be whatever, you're stronger in it, you could do much more abilities in it, but for whatever at the time was like, just serve this idol. Abraham Avinu did not follow this. He was like looking at what's going on, and he was astounded what's going on, and he wondered, it can't be this is the ways of the world. It can't be, because I see certain times, one thing dominate over the other. And I see certain reactions through nature. That doesn't really make sense. So he came to the knowledge that there's only one creator. There's only one God, Ehad. Which we finally get to Yud Kei Vav Kei, but that's not where I'm stopping. He actually set the precedence of what's all our purpose, what's our mission here. He finally took the bull by the horns, so to speak. Well, he actually did. He took the ram by the horns and he offered the korban. But, but he set Akedat Yitzhak. Now we see he was promised a son. And all his life, even the Parasha had to dictate